Hello and welcome to today's video. My name is Haley and today is part 2 of 2 of the video about the shadow state of division within the 7th gene key, virtue and its own reward. So if you haven't seen part 1, I recommend backtracking, watching part 1 because it lays the foundational framework for this video. We left off talking about how one should be discerning with who they allow to have authority over them, because if you place authority in the hands of the wrong person, they could potentially manipulate you, lead you down the wrong path more likely than not, and there can create a power dynamic in a hierarchy. So being very discerning and aware of who you elect to lead you, whether that's friends, family, politicians, whatever. The real leader is the ultimate listener. They will empathize so deeply with your suffering that you will finally give yourself permission to embrace it without fear, which will enable you to transcend it. So that quote beautifully articulates where I also left us off in the last video, which was talking about how a real leader does not want to control you, does not want to manipulate you, does not even want to be in charge of leading you. They want to teach you how to lead you. They want to empower you. They want to give you the tools you need to navigate your own life in a holistic, loving, and balanced way. So, 2 qualities there. The quality from the last video we went over is the real leader wants to give you tools to help you, and then the real leader is also a great and ultimate listener. So this means the more I can listen, the more I can step into qualities of leadership. Okay, so listening is quite different than just simply hearing someone. You can hear something and not listen. In my opinion, the difference between hearing and listening is, hearing is, for instance, we can be at coffee and you can yap all about your problems with your boyfriend, and I can be like, yeah. I can hear all of it and not really give genuine interest and let it go in one ear and out the other. I heard it. Nothing for me to comment on, nothing for me to say, because I'm disinterested. I'm not investing my presence and my genuine empathy. So that's hearing. And true listening, in my opinion, is when I am hearing this come through my ears, I am invested. It's like it's my life. It's like I'm watching a movie. It's like I care because I do. And so the true listener, even if there's no action taken, they're completely receptive. They're taking in every single word you say, every single nuance, every single facial expression, as if they are thirsty for it. So there's a genuine interest, as if it's one's own life or issue. And so I think the most interesting thing about the true listener, the true leader, is you don't even necessarily have to give advice or give guidance. All you have to do is be fully receptive. To be fully receptive. So the true leader doesn't even really have to take any action necessarily. Not to say the true leader never takes action, because sometimes there is most definitely action to be taken. But even more primary to that is holding the seat of full reception, of full listening, of full presence. And we could talk about being fully present all day. But in order to understand full presence, you have to experience it, which can't be described because it is a Siddhic state, full presence. Siddhic meaning it is a branch of enlightenment, which means it escapes the confines of the limited human language to talk about. So the real leader is ultimately very, very, very present. And in that presence, right, he's saying it gives the other person the permission to embrace whatever they're going through without fear. And when fear is not there, fear is the separation from love, right? So if there's no fear, that means you've closed the gap of separation and now you're in love, you're in presence, you're in unity. So full presence, full listening allows that gap from love, which is fear, and this chasm, to close and the person to come in harmony with whatever they're going through. To fully feel it. And as cheesy as it sounds, you have to feel it to heal it. So essentially, I like to think of the way he's describing this as the real leader is someone who can hold your hand through the whole journey. Whether it's where should we place our money, in reference to politics. Where can I hold the hand of the community in order for us to all elevate the most? The true leader is the one on the team who is saying, what is everyone's ideas? Let's go around and all share so that as a collective we can elect and unite the ideas that maybe are from multiple people that make the most sense for everyone, so that this event that we're throwing can be so exponentially more epic than if I were to just make it up all myself and tell all of you what to do. So the real leader is not this, all authoritarian figure that only delegates tasks and tells people what to do. No, the real leader listens and wants input from its environment in order to create a more holistic model. Something interesting to think about. So a quick contemplation here for you who is listening is, how can I start to step into this frequency of real leadership? Another way to say that is, how can I start to actively listen? Maybe it's as simple as the next time that friend calls me, I'm not talking on the phone and making dinner. I'm just sitting on the couch and fully soaking up every single word they have to say. Another example could be, next time I go get lunch with my neighbor, instead of checking my phone every 5 minutes, I just put that away and I'm just here with you. You could even practice this without another person. How about next time you eat a meal alone, instead of doing anything else, you just put your full attention, your full listening on eating. And again, this doesn't mean you're trying to hear every chew. The word listening is a little bit more metaphoric. I don't know if that's a word, metaphoric, than just in reference to the ears. Truly listening to your food would be to enjoy every bite. It's a very sensual experience to be actively listening. You're not only listening to the sound that exits a person's mouth, you're also listening to the way their body moves. You're noting if they feel uncomfortable. You're also listening to the environment around. Does it feel chaotic or peaceful? You're also listening to how you feel. Is your body contracting anywhere? You're also listening to your own intuition. Do you have an urge to perhaps give guidance or solace to a person's comment? Or do you have the intuition to just silently receive? So the contemplation, once again, being, where can I more actively listen and therefore step into my frequency of true leadership? He says at the core of this shadow state is the fear of losing power. And there's fear of losing power because fear is the only thing that keeps this hierarchy intact. Fear, the separation from love, is the only thing that allows us to organize ourselves into different castes, into different categories, into the you're less than, or you're way more than, or I'm way too good for you, or I'm not good enough for you. Fear is what allows this to stay in place. When that gap closes, when fear ceases, when love blossoms, the hierarchy's gone. Therefore, the shadow state is gone. Therefore, division is gone. And that also means if hierarchy is gone, there's no more top-down communication, right? There's no more of this delegation type of. And also, I just want to note, there is a high frequency way to delegate tasks to others if you are running a company or throwing an event or whatever. But when I say delegation in this video, I'm talking about this kind of, like, you have to do this for me. And it's very authoritarian. I'm going to trip over that word. It's done with a lot of authority and a lot of force and kind of a meanness or rudeness to it. And when you have the hierarchy intact, it's very much, I'm on the top, so I dictate what you do here on the bottom. And I tell you what to do. And I control what you do because I have the assets, the money that allow me to manipulate you. So again, when hierarchy ceases, when the gap closes, this top-down form of communication, this harsh form of delegation also vanishes. Which means the whole every man for himself, every business for itself goes away as well. Any and all forms of shadow frequency business models go away. And this starts to beg the question, well, okay, if basically how most businesses to this current day run themselves, if there's another way to be, which is not this form of top-down communication and not this every business for itself, how can we as a company make more money? If that's going away, then that must mean there's something to take its place. There must be a way out there to elevate my business and the all simultaneously, is what he's starting to hint at in this chapter. And again, he will go into it in more detail when we enter the gift and frequency states. But right now he's just dropping a little foreshadowment that there is another way to do business. There's another way to go around things that aren't only for one's own personal ambition. And just because we don't currently do things that way doesn't mean that they don't exist. Which is something really interesting, my favorite word, something really beautiful to think about. Just because things aren't currently done in this way doesn't mean that the possibility can't manifest. Right? This is how all great inventions come about. Someone thinks of something that literally does not currently exist in this physical reality and has so much desire to see that come into fruition that they put their attention, their energy, their time, their money, their work, their life force energy towards it to bring it about into the now. And this too can start to translate to the way we do business, we do politics, and we do any form of leadership task. And it does require a great quantum leap, he says, to enter this frequency of leadership that serves the all, not just the individual. And it's going to require us to move from fear-based consciousness, from shadow frequency of division, to love, to guidance, and ultimately to virtue, to doing things virtuously. And we're going to go into what that looks like, doing things virtuously, in the next two videos of the 7th gene key. Right now, though, we are going to finish up this video talking about the repressive nature and the reactive nature. Within every gene key shadow state, he goes over repressive and reactive natures. Repressive rhymes with depressive, so very easy to remember. It's a lack of energy, a lack of motivation. Both are low frequency states. The opposite, though, is the reactive side of this shadow, has a lot of negative energy, nonetheless energy going towards it. So the repressive nature within this shadow of division is hidden. So these people have the qualities of leadership within them, but they keep it hidden. Why would someone do that? Why would someone hide their natural born gift to lead? Doesn't make any sense. Well, there's many reasons. One, you're afraid of your own power. Classic, cheesy but true. The cheese is always true. Maybe, you have a childhood trauma where someone told you weren't good at it, even though you were. There was a form of insecurity there, right? There's countless reasons as to why you would hide any of your gifts from the world. And it is in remaining hidden, not allowing your natural-born leadership qualities to express themselves, that one becomes filled with pressure, frustration, and resentment, he says. And this can manifest as physical symptoms or illness within the body. Right? The body follows suit of the mind. If the mind feels scared and insecure and I don't want to, but I do want to express this gift, but I'm scared, so I'm not going to. If the mind feels like that, it's going to translate into the body and manifest as something as simple as acne, as extreme to an autoimmune disease, perhaps. And he says here, this is so interesting. This is so cutting edge to me. He says that the world today is actually full of hidden leaders living behind this shadow. And it's all ultimately due to fear. And he notes here right at the end of this shadow state, he says, this repressive state, he says, once these people start to recognize the power within themselves, that's the first step, recognizing you have a gift to lead, or have any gift for that matter, and then choosing of your own free will, even though you're scared, to step into it, which is called courage. Referencing the David Hawkins map of consciousness, that is the point of transmutation. 200 frequency hertz is going from fear stepping into love. Having that courage. And again, courage doesn't mean you're not scared. Courage means you're very scared perhaps, but you're still willing to transcend the illusion of fear, knowing that more love is on the other side. It's kind of that little sweet, spooky, spicy feeling inside that's like, oh, I want to do this thing, but I'm scared. I want to jump off the cliff, but I'm scared. But I actually do know, because I've seen other people jump off the cliff, that there's no rocks under there. And yeah, my body might get a bit frightened when it jumps off the cliff, but I do know I'm going to safely land in the ocean, and the ocean is going to catch me. So they have to first recognize their hidden gift, or this power within them, that they've been allowing fear to repress, to stay hidden, and then they have to choose to unleash it, which, once again, much easier said than done. As I read this, I thought about how I kind of felt this way, even in just making these videos. I've been having this itch to make this series for probably a year, and I think I started doing it, a month and a half ago. And yeah, it was still scary. It's kind of still scary every time I make one of these. I'm like, oh, what if I say something people don't like? Or what if it's just stupid and I ramble and it makes zero sense? Or what if no one watches it? Or what if? And I let all of those thoughts control my ability to express this form of leadership, you could say. All gifts are a form of leadership, you could say, for quite a while. And it wasn't until I had the courage, I reached that transmutation point of 200 frequency hertz, where I said, you know what? Even though I'm still scared, even though people might judge it, even though I might ramble and say a bunch of BS, I'm still going to do it, because for whatever reason, I feel this desire born within me. And anywhere and everywhere there's a desire within you to act upon something, it's secretly where your hidden power lies. And I realize that now, right? Desire is very closely linked to where your power is asking to be unlocked. It's like something is knocking on your heart. The little power is like, hey, open up, I want to come out. And then finally you're like, okay, you've been knocking for so long and I hear you, and yes, I'm still scared, but I'm going to unleash you, because you won't be quiet. That's part of the reason. And so a contemplation for you who is watching is, where is there some kind of itch that I've been wanting to scratch, but I'm a little scared, but I'm secretly also really curious, and I know it will feel good and rewarding to simply just express in that way, lead in that way, give my gift in that way. Starting to identify where those little hidden power angels lie within inside of you. And the last thing he says here within this repressive nature is he says, once this person does step into this quality of power, a great tide of optimism, happiness, joy, peace, bliss, a great amount of optimism and intelligence is released back into the world. Not just to you, who's doing it, to the entire world. That's pretty transformative and expansive. So essentially what he's saying is when you decide to finally answer the call to the little power angel that's been knocking inside of your heart, you not only step into your own power and receive more of your own power, you also get to share that power in the form of optimism, joy, bliss, happiness, and intelligence to the entire world. So that's a gift you're giving to all of society. Talk about real leadership. Giving to all of society is what a true leader does, for sure. And lastly, the reactive nature is dictatorial. I have never said that word out loud. Dictatorial. Sounds kind of funny. So yes, he says the person who's sedimented into this shadow state is the quote-unquote leader who takes full advantage by abusing their position of power, right? That means they're using it to manipulate, to control, to force their own agenda, to have personal gain for themselves or their own business, not really thinking about the collective, and probably wreaking havoc in more than one area. This is the type of person who doesn't want others to rely on themselves because they know it would mean that they don't need to rely on them. And they secretly, perhaps subconsciously, receive power, receive energy from people who they feel like need them. They like being a source that people come to when they need help. They don't actually want to empower others. They actually want to take others' energies and mask it with this facade of, oh, I want to help you. When in reality, they actually want to suck others of their energy dry. They want to create power dynamics and bonds and forms of reliance. And he says that these people are masters at patterns and manipulation and can lock people into patterns. The game is to trap followers into believing that they need leadership. So, what does this sound like? Cult leaders is a perfect example. Cult leaders don't actually want to empower the people that follow them. They want to create these like sacred communities that are special and, you know, have all this reliance on one person or a group of people at the top. And that was kind of what surfaced into my head. But even besides cults, there's very many examples of people like this that I can think of within my own life or just on the political stage even. And yeah, I think the most important thing to note about these types of people is some of these people aren't even aware that they're doing this, which once again does not mean it's okay at all. No one gets a free pass for being a dictator. Nonetheless, I think it's important to remember that because it's not like these people are all evil, you know? Some of them really genuinely just don't even realize that there's another way to be. And because they're so driven by fear, they act in these perverted ways. So I think that's something important to remember, to keep that frequency of compassion alive as you assess the people in your life that are acting from this shadow state of division and dictatorship. Because everyone deserves compassion. Even dictators deserve compassion, which again, compassion, if you haven't seen the other videos where I talk about this, in my opinion, compassion is I completely understand why you're doing what you're doing, why you feel the need to manipulate all of these people. It's because you have such low energy and low awareness that you genuinely think you need to trick people in order to feel okay about yourself. So I do understand why you do what you're doing. That does not mean that I agree. So compassion is this kind of like tough love. It's seeing things from a bird's eye view so that you can continue to move in love as you also start to take your power back and help the collective. He says something really interesting at the last line here. He says that these types of people, these dictators, attract followers who actually, again, maybe subconsciously, want to remain at a victim level of consciousness. Fear, like attracts like, fear attracts fear. Both people within the dictatorship dynamic are operating at a low frequency of fear, right? The dictator themselves feels so much fear that they need to derive energy from other people because they don't know how to generate it themselves, that they do what they do. And the followers also operate from fear, right? I can't save myself. I need you to follow me. I need you to save me. I need you to guide me. So these points of fear attracted to each other, manifesting in very different ways. One manifesting as a follower and one manifesting as a leader. So who in your life is, for lack of better words, a dictator? Trying to take your energy, manipulate you, tell you what to do, guilt trip you, has qualities of narcissism perhaps. Interesting to contemplate. And I think the activity I'll offer for this is, how can you start to develop compassion for those people? Because again, as cheesy as it sounds, love is the most powerful force in the universe, and love can entrain fear. Love can engulf fear. Love can close the gap. And so when you start to generate a true compassion for the people in your life who are trying to manipulate you, trying to control you, and instead become discerning and aware that, okay, yes, what they're doing is not okay, but I can still try to be the example of truth for them, that starts to not only change your heart, but also change theirs. Maybe not immediately. This also requires patience. And again, all of this is way easier said than done. But I think it's always a good practice to try and cultivate compassion for someone who's rubbing you the wrong way. So yes, that is all my thoughts of this shadow state of division within the 7th gene key. And stay tuned for me to get into the gift frequency of guidance. See you guys next time. Hey guys, thanks again for tuning in with me for this Gene Keys episode. I also just wanted to come on here and start promoting my one-to-one coaching that I offer to women and girls ages 16 to 35. If you've followed me on Instagram for a while, you might be a little bit familiar with my story. I was a model in New York City for 5 years, and in that time frame, I did quite some damage. I developed a really severe eating disorder, body dysmorphia, chronic anxiety. Oh my gosh, I couldn't even go out to dinner without thinking about how much calories, how much I'd have to overwork out in order to compensate for what I was eating. All of those issues led to quite a depression and turned into PCOS, and I also lost my menstrual cycle for over 5 years. All of this amalgamation of issues led me to soon realize that something needed to change. I went through much work. Many people helped me to get to where I am now. And I'm so thrilled to say I'm living such a more abundant life, and I don't feel zapped and drained and fear of judgment anymore like I used to. I would love to offer what I've learned through my own embodied experience, the meditative techniques that have gravitated toward me, and the own verified games that I've made up and curated to help you walk home to more of you and who you really are, so that all of these things can stop draining your energy. You know, all the constant comparison to others and to your people on Instagram, all the over-analysis about working out and what you're eating or what you look like. All of these things are not what life's about, as cheesy as it sounds. And I would love to help you come into more unity with you if you struggle with any of these things and you're a woman or girl between the ages of 16 and 35. So feel free to reach out to me if one-on-one coaching sounds resonant. You can feel free to DM me through Instagram or contact me via email, both of which will be left below in the description box. So much love and aloha to you guys, and I'll see you all in the next video.